Hello, this is Refocusing Barbados and I'm Mark. I want to focus my attention on the hostile takeover of Banks Holdings Limited and what it is saying about our financial landscape. There are two offers on the table. One came from a Trinidadian-owned company who does business in Barbados, who owns some businesses in Barbados. One came from a South American, South American company. But it's interesting to note that no offer has come from, that we have heard of, come from any Barbadian consortium. And when you really sit down and look at what is happening, why aren't we as a people not concerned about what is happening? Massey has taken over BS&T in almost similar fashion to SLU, taking over some of the shares in Banks Holdings. And you know, there's a lot of similarities here. But the question is, why are our big companies who have historic ties to us culturally, why are they going the way of being gobbled up by giants outside of Barbados? Don't we have it within us to take over our companies in like manner? It's something serious is seriously wrong here. And there was an article in one of the newspapers, I think it was last week, which was advising the shareholders not to sell their shares to Ambev. And one of the reasons before was that Ambev seemed to have this history of cannibalizing companies when they take them over. But along comes Al and puts in an offer, makes an offer for the remaining shares, much higher than the one that Ambev has made. But the thing to note here is that Caribbean is the direct competitor of Banks. And they seem not to be concerned about that and what that means for Banks Holdings and Banks Beer, probably outside of Barbados. Don't you see something seriously wrong with that? Why can't we come together and decide to keep Banks a local company? In the same way that there were people who came forward and wanted to keep BS&T a locally owned company. It didn't happen. And now we have Banks Holdings going up now. And it seems as though it's going to go to the highest bidder. What are we afraid of? What's the fear? What's the fear? That's what I want to know. There seems to be a fear that has crept into us that makes us so cautious about making these type of moves. Are we afraid of money? Are we afraid to take on the enormity of Banks, the enormous nature, the big company like Banks Holdings? That company has a lot of value. It does have a lot of value. Why don't we as a people come together and look at this and say, all right, let us take this over and let us retain local ownership of this company? And this is the thing that is puzzling me. Because the trend is that our large companies can only be taken over by outsiders. But I won't call Ansel McCall an outsider. Ansel McCall is owned by a West Indian company, and no West Indian company can be an outsider. They're West Indians, they're part of us. But why can't we seek to retain local ownership of these large companies. Where are we shying away? Where are we shying away from this challenge? Are we saying to ourselves that we can't take over these big companies and make them bigger? It would be interesting if Ansel McCall takes over Banks Holdings to see what they will do with it. Two direct competitors coming face to face within one company. Isn't that interesting? I think that is interesting. What do you think will be the outcome? Are they going to give the same amount of attention to each of those two brands? Will they have equal attention? Will Banks be the brand that moves ahead? There's some things that we have to consider. Number one, the cost of doing business in Trinidad is a lot cheaper than Barbados. The cost is much lower. The cost of production is much lower. So in many ways, Carib always have the edge over Banks, if only from the perspective of the lower cost of production. And that is significant. There's also a challenge there for Coca-Cola. What is going to happen to Coca-Cola? And the other thing is this: if there's any change at all in the operations of Banks Holdings going forward, what is going to become of the employees? What will become of the employees? There's so much here at stake that we can end up, if we look at it carefully, we can end up as we really are, even more so now, a country of consumers and not producers. If we are not careful with this trend. People love the Barbados market because we are consumers. We consume a lot for our size. We better be careful. I see a lot of danger signs here. That's all I'm going to say for now. I'll be watching it, and I'll be coming back to make further comments as this whole saga unfolds. Thank you. This is me, Mac. This has been also Refocusing Barbados. Bye now.